Welcome to this lecture on stakeholder-driven strategy, where we focus on why stakeholder analysis matters for effective strategy development. This cover image hints at three overlapping domains: internal, external, and influence, and shows how thinking across those circles helps us design strategy that connects organizational goals with the people who shape success. This slide contrasts what happens when stakeholders are ignored versus when they are analyzed systematically. Ignoring stakeholders creates resistance, rework, and reputational harm, while a thoughtful approach converts unknowns into insights, turns blockers into allies, and engages partners as co-designers, unlocking collaboration and lowering costs over time. Here we emphasize a breadth-first, depth-next approach to stakeholder mapping, starting with a wide net across internal functions, external partners and regulators, and community or future influence groups. The idea is to capture all voices initially, then deepen engagement with the critical stakeholders so strategy is comprehensive and no important perspective is missed. This power versus interest matrix helps you decide how to engage different groups. Stakeholders with high power and interest need satisfying and active engagement, while those with high power but low interest should still be consulted. Low power but high interest groups should be informed, and low power, low interest parties monitored, so resources match strategic influence and likelihood to affect outcomes. This slide adds legitimacy and urgency on top of power to refine stakeholder importance. A low power but highly legitimate and urgent claimant can rapidly become a core stakeholder. Using attributes like authority, moral or legal legitimacy, and time sensitivity lets you prioritize who deserves immediate attention and whose status should be elevated in engagement plans. When we look at stakeholder objectives and drivers, we translate what stakeholders care about into strategic language. Some want to protect assets, others seek market gains, and many try to avoid risks. Pair those goals with quantitative targets like margins and ROI, and qualitative drivers like brand reputation and social license to align strategy with stakeholder value and long-term success. Inventorying stakeholder control means listing sources of influence such as funding, data, regulatory votes, social media reach, and street protests, while mapping informal networks reveals hidden influencers who can trigger cascades of approval or dissent. Together, these tools surface both formal levers and informal pathways that shape how quickly support or opposition travels. Co-creating ambition bridges organizational goals with stakeholder strategic ambitions by crafting shared ambition statements. This shared narrative reduces resistance and produces joint KPIs, so success is measured together rather than in isolation. The result is clearer alignment where growth, sustainability, and partnership goals reinforce one another. Tailoring stakeholder engagement requires matching power and interest to the right approach, whether building champions, negotiating with opponents, empowering low-power beneficiaries, or monitoring neutrals. Equally important is customizing frequency, communication channel, and messaging, so interactions are timely, targeted, and framed to emphasize benefits, reduce risks, and enable meaningful participation. Tracking stakeholder-driven metrics turns sentiment and early signals into operational dashboards. Leading indicators like feature adoption by pilot groups give proactive insight, while lagging measures such as 6-month retention and regulatory approval speed show outcomes. Combining these into strategic dashboards lets teams respond faster and align metrics with stakeholder priorities. Stakeholder analysis should be a living strategy with a continuous engagement cycle. Schedule regular pulse checks, analyze shifts in power and interest, feed insights into strategy refreshes, and treat your stakeholder map as dynamic rather than laminated. This routine keeps engagement current and ensures strategic objectives evolve with stakeholder realities. Scenario planning and agile response help you test shocks like new regulations, viral campaigns, or competitor moves, then reposition stakeholders on an influence impact grid. Pre-drafted playbooks, modular response actions, and flexible pathways enable rapid deployment so you can adapt strategy quickly while preserving alignment and minimizing disruption. This one-page process summarizes a rapid stakeholder scan, list potential stakeholders, plot them by power and interest, prioritize for engagement, develop tailored communications, and measure outcomes. Using a concise checklist ensures consistent, fast alignment before strategic decisions and helps organizations act without getting bogged down in bureaucracy. Finally, the immediate action plan turns theory into practice through 3 simple steps. Choose one current initiative, apply the stakeholder checklist, and schedule a first conversation with a high-power stakeholder tonight. Small, immediate actions build the habit of stakeholder-driven work and create momentum for longer-term organizational change.